Coming up on Smart Tech today, Matthew Cassinelli and I talk about actually making the smart home work for you. Let's just walk into our house, have everything turn on, and have those robot carpets start to massage our feet. Well, maybe we're not there yet, but we're getting close. Stay tuned.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of Smart Tech Today is brought to you by FreshBooks, the #1 accounting software in the cloud for self-employed professionals and their teams. Make the running of your business simple and efficient with FreshBooks. Try it free for 30 days at freshbooks.com/STT. Welcome to Smart Tech Today, where we explain the exciting, dynamic, and sometimes confusing subject that is the Internet of Things. I'm Mikah Sargent.
I'm Matthew Cassinelli.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Positive.
Good. You passed. You passed the test. You passed the Turing test. We've got a lot to talk about today. In fact, we always have a lot to talk about and almost never get to talk about all of it. But we thought we'd kick things off with some feel-good news with Apple Watch, because yet again, a smart wearable has saved another life and has also improved conditions for a life. So that is my way of vaguely introducing the topics. Matthew, why don't you tell us about how lives have been saved and lives have been improved?
This one was from there was a car crash. This is actually from last week, but another story where police in England responded to a car accident after basically the man crashed and was unconscious, and his Apple Watch called the paramedics and they showed up and basically saved his life. So that's always, those stories are amazing. Do you know, actually, I forgot to check this before, but isn't fall detection not turned on by default on Apple Watch?
I think it's part of the setup process.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
either way,
turned off by default.
Should check, because, and I guess this might be this is the emergency SOS, which is, those are both related. But,
yeah. Yeah, actually, I do think it is turned off by default, because I remember going in and it always says, hey, if you do a lot of high-intensity workouts or things like that, then you might trigger a fall detection even when you didn't fall. But it's still worth it, because you can easily say, no, I didn't just fall. I went dancing over the weekend, finally, and I did actually trigger fall detection. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said, no, I'm just shaking my groove thing. I did not fall. And so the police were not called to the scene of the dancing crime. Everything was okay. And I continued to do my dancing. But it's good, because every time if you give over your analytics, if you say, yes, I'm okay with this, every time it senses a fall that didn't end up being a fall, then it can help Apple sort of figure out and determine, okay, this was a fall, this was not a fall.
Like the false positives.
Exactly, yeah. It gets better at recognizing false positives, which I think is fantastic. Although I have to wonder what. I mean, I guess we have a far bigger far longer life expectancy now, obviously, and tech improves folks' lives in many ways. It's just, I guess, there's a part of me that is fascinated and appreciated by, and then at the same time sort of perplexed by the fact that once, not too long ago, you could be going in a wagon across the new country that is the United States and fall into a pit and die, and there's no Apple Watch to call the police for you, or you can get dysentery, which unfortunately the Apple Watch doesn't detect as it stands. But I don't know. It's just.
Are you saying it's a shame like the settlers didn't have Apple Watches?
That's precisely what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's a shame that this technology hasn't existed all along. But it's kind of wild to me, in not too terribly long a period of time, how much has been done to sort of improve lives, save lives, and increase overall life expectancy, and how technology does play a role in that in some cases. So yeah, we've got also a story here which I thought was really cool, because it's not necessarily a something that you'd think of right away. It's the new Apple Watch and I think some of is this just for the Series 5 or is it a watchOS feature? I also am having trouble recalling because I think it takes up a lot of battery.
It's Series 5, yeah, because it's like it's new.
Yeah, so it's an active listening feature.
It's like one of the only features besides the screen.
That's right, yeah. It's an active listening feature that detects the sound in your environment, and then depending on how loud how loud the sound is in your environment, it will say, hey, whoa, you've been in a loud environment and you might want to move out of it because if you're in this environment for much longer, then it could do damage to your ears, which I was also shamed about over the weekend while I was going dancing. That's another story. So I never thought about using it outside of that and construction and things like that. I thought that it was just a feature that helped you understand when you were in a noisy environment that is damaging to your ears. But Matthew, you came across this great article from People.
Yeah, it was linked from 9to5Mac to give them credit, but Texas dad says Apple Watch changed the life of his son with autism. We had tried everything. And basically what they did was use the volume levels on the watch to help the son modulate his voice because he had trouble. Just like he would speak too loudly in environments and couldn't necessarily tell how to like adjust his volume down. And the dad basically said when the watch goes from green to yellow, that's like being too loud. And basically they said it worked right away and they were like amazed by it. And I love these stories. Like I was almost getting like choked up while I was reading it because he was just like, I love golf and I've always wanted to take him to a game, but you can't like you can't be loud at a golf game. And so like his son could go, and I don't think he has his own watch, but like still check the watch and be able to like experience it with him. So I thought that's just awesome. Like I love these types of stories, and it's like something like you said, you would never expect someone to use it that way, but
yeah. And see, even in this story, the father was talking about, man, I wish we could have had this technology whenever he was a kid.
Yeah.
Because it could have made a big difference at that point too. And regardless, I'm glad that it's available now to the family. And again, like we've talked about a little bit there, where I think it's almost these little routes that the technology takes that we don't expect that really makes it shine, makes it valuable, and makes it worth getting excited about. Because there are times whenever my tech enthusiasm dwindles, or it is something where I'm like sort of checking myself, making sure that it's something that I should be pumped about. And so it's nice to have these stories. I know that there's a lot of cynicism surrounding it in the sense that, of course, Apple likes to have those feel-good moments, or whatever company. At the end of the day, it is a device that they're selling. They're making money off of it. They're profiting off of it. And so it can be kind of weird talking about these feel-good stories at times because it's like we're talking about a thing that people buy and it all goes back to capitalism. But at the same time, it's worth breathing in that positivity and sort of, celebrating it.
I think it's worth. That's like, I don't think either of us would be here if we didn't believe in the positive power of that stuff.
Right.
It is too easy to be like cynical, but that stuff is, I mean, like I play drums and it's helping me recognize when it's too loud in the room and I should be wearing these headphones instead of playing it and just blasting it through the neighborhood. But
I was gonna say, what about your neighbors? Did you give them all headphones too?
They're electric drums, so at least I can control the volume there a little bit.
Okay, gotcha.
But now that I do want to like use this app more, because I mean I used it over the summer at festivals for sure, because it was like, this is too loud, especially like certain artists. It was like blowing you away, which is like, you have less than 30 minutes a day, and I'm getting like 4 hours of exposure or something. So we totally like stood further back because I was wearing that. And by the way, it is Series 4 or later, so you don't have to have the latest, which is nice.
That is good. Yeah. Apple also released the Research app. It had long talked about doing this, and basically this app lets you sign up for different studies with different organizations. And in fact, let me see, because I signed up for the 2 that I was able to be a part of. Let's see. So there is the Apple Hearing Study, which is in partnership with the University of Michigan and the World Health Organization, and the Apple Heart and Movement Study, which is with the American Heart Association and the Brigham and Women's Hospital. There's also the one study that I'm not able to be a part of, the Apple Women's Health Study, which is with Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health and the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences. So I signed up for the Apple Hearing Study and the Apple Heart and Movement Study, and essentially with those, you go in and you enroll in the studies, you give them certain information, and you go through and you have to sign different stuff and give access to the things that you want to and things that you don't. And in fact, with the Hearing Study, there was a new request that said, hey, if you'd like to, you can give your health records to this study. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So I actually said, no, I think I'm going to pass on that part. So I'm okay with them having my movement data, the walking around data, my heart rate, stuff like that, everything that the Apple Watch calculates. But to go as far as to ask for my health records and use that, I understand that the point of it is to be used to help the study. I just didn't feel comfortable handing over that information. And so Apple does make it easy. Right. Yeah. Apple does make it easier to sort of split those up. It's not like an all or nothing kind of thing. So I've appreciated that. I think the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because as we continue to have wearable smart devices, folks are going to be tracking their all sorts of personal metrics more and more. We're going to be tracking our sleep more and more. We're going to be tracking movement, all sorts of things. And as these sensors get more robust, then more information will be added to that. And with that comes the possibility for researchers to take advantage of that. And I think that's a very powerful thing that we are only on the cusp, really, of understanding. Because yes, we've had some people who've tracked a lot of their data, and there are the research studies that have taken place so far, but to have it on a massive scale with these tech companies involved, I think makes it all the more exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they also just published the results of their earlier first heart study. I mean, and it's kind of, I think the headline is kind of funny in Engadget because they're like, yes, the Apple Watch can in fact detect atrial fibrillation. Wow, I should have practiced saying that. I don't
How
think
often
I've ever
do you
said
have to say that
before? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so I think it is like fascinating to see that they had 400,000 volunteers, and even though from that, I think the pool of people who actually had like the false positives and they used the data from that is much smaller, but it's still those people participated versus not having been enlisted. And so it'll be interesting to see these like new studies and the hearing ones. I didn't realize there was new studies out, so I'll have to get enrolled there.
Yeah. Do it. I was part of the heart study. Happy to have been a part of that. And like I said, these new ones, there are some tasks that pop up every once in a while asking you for information. And I think whenever the fall detection thing happened, then it did within the research app ask me even more questions about the fall, or in my case, the lack of a fall. Maybe the base was dropping and so was I, but it was on purpose, not by accident. And so
your heart was being beaten by the base.
Beaten by the base, and yeah, I was breaking it down. But anyway, because of that, then the app sort of followed up and said, was this a fall? Were you dizzy beforehand? Yada, yada, yada. And what I also like about this, and what I hope more companies who jump on board with this do, is one of the annoying things about I love the opportunity to sign up for studies, and I will always do what I can to be a part of those sorts of things, because I think it's so important that people get the researchers who are doing this get as much of the data that they can to help people. I think that it's a fantastic way I consider it, and I talked about this, I think, on Tech News Weekly. I consider it on the same level as being an organ donor. I want to give that data about myself just as much as I want to be able to give an organ to someone if I were in a situation where I don't need those things anymore. And so because of that, I want that data to be available. I can't remember where I was going with this now, but essentially, the fact that like it can be kind of annoying at the very least and frustrating and maybe even in some cases too much of a barrier to entry if every time you're signing up for a study you have to re-enter a bunch of information. And the good thing about this research app is that with some of the stuff like your demographics information, you fill that out once and then the different studies that sign up to be a part of this app can all pull from that demographics survey that you filled out. So it doesn't have to be redone over and over and over and over again, which I think is great.
Yeah. All right.
Well, before we move on, I do want to tell you that something came in the mail for me today. Actually, I don't know if it came in the mail for me today. It came in the mail at some point, but I just got it today. And it says, "Hello, I'm Hoobs on micro SD."
Yeah, nice.
From Rue Fontaine, L'Assomption, QC, wherever that is. Oh, Canada. This came from Canada. How nice. So
you got your Homebridge out of the box.
Yes, I guess it came from Quebec. Yes. So yeah, Hoobs is HomeKit out of box system, I think is what HOOBS stands for. So I'm opening it here on air.
Lovely.
Yeah, listen to that Foley. You love it. It's a packing slip, as you might expect. Oh, no, sorry. Not HomeKit out of the box. It's Homebridge out of the box.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Homebridge out of the box solution, Hoobs. Of course, the company is based in Switzerland, but the packing or the shipment happened from Quebec. And here it is. It's a little micro SD card with a micro SD card adapter. I assume like if you ever wanted to flash it or whatever. But essentially what I will do is I will put the little Hoobs chip, it's 8 gigs, into my Raspberry Pi I have at home and run it as a Homebridge out-of-the-box solution. So,
nice.
Yeah, it just came today, and I'll give it a go, of course, and report back with what that's like. For folks who are just tuning in, maybe this is your first episode, or you didn't get a chance to listen to the last one, or what have you. First of all, hello and welcome to the program. But also, Hoobs is something we talked about last week. Homebridge is a means by which you can add non-compatible HomeKit products to your HomeKit home. It's a little complicated, but essentially...
Say that 5 times fast.
Right. Essentially, Apple's regulations have kept, in the past especially, some companies from being able to create devices that work with their platform specifically. Amazon and Google have been more open traditionally and do a lot of server-side control versus local in-home control, which is what Apple's HomeKit platform does. And so the way by which you can add non-compatible devices to your HomeKit home is by essentially creating a bridge device in your house that then connects with individual accessories and products throughout your home that are not HomeKit compatible. But because the virtual bridge that you create is HomeKit compatible, then you are sending communications to that bridge, which then send communications to those individual products. So you can add all of those things to your home. I think Federico Vitici has added fans and televisions, and by televisions, I mean like smart TVs, not just the Apple TV, but smart TVs and things like that. So I've used this in the past. I had, for some reason, it may have been that a company sent it to me because it's not within my normal... It is not within my normal MO to go and buy something that's not HomeKit enabled. But for some reason, there was a plug in my home that did not have HomeKit compatibility, and I wanted it to have HomeKit compatibility. And so I set up Homebridge just for this one plug, and then ended up thinking that Homebridge was pretty cool. But now I've got several. What is the company that makes the webcams that are like very inexpensive? Dropcam, I think. Oh yeah, I think it's Dropcam. But Dropcam has like Dropcam plugs and stuff as well.
Isn't that Nest Dropcam now?
Oh yeah, that's not Dropcam then. What is this? I can't think of what it's called. Say it again. Yeah, Wisecam. Thank you, Kevin.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, Wisecam, and they've got Wise plugs now too. WYZE. Sorry, Quebec. Representing Canada here. WYZE cam and the WYZE plug. These are, I've got a couple of these now, and I would like to add them to my HomeKit enabled home.
Oh, nice.
And I should be able to do that. Oh, and also my Robo Vacuum.
Oh, the Roomba.
It's not a Roomba though. It's an off-brand. It's an off-brand Roomba.
But I mean, so
cool.
The biggest thing about Homebridge and something like your setup or the out of the box thing, which you can also get as like you just bought the SD card, but you can get the whole Raspberry Pi setup from these people too. It's definitely more expensive, but seems nice for somebody who doesn't want to fiddle with it.
Sorry,
but
I don't know that that's true. Sorry, not what you said. What you said is true. I was reading the chat. Scooter X says that Wise supports HomeKit, but I don't know that that's true.
Oh. I mean, it's one of those things that you just gave up on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, correct. Wise does not support HomeKit. He was thinking of, or Scooter X was thinking of Waymo. Yeah, Waymo does.
Like the reason you need one of these is because it needs an always-on computer to run Homebridge, and so the Raspberry Pi just acts as the little constant hub for you. Another thing about it, so I have another toy too that we were mentioning last week.
You got a toy. What is your toy?
It's called the SwitchBot, and it's a little, for lack of a better word, a little robot that presses switches for you. So it has a little finger that extends out and pushes a button for you on a schedule. But for me, it doesn't work with HomeKit. It does have a Siri shortcut, so that's why I went for it. Let me see if I can get the audio. Did that come through?
I heard that.
Here, one more.
Yep. Got that great. Foley.
So that will be turning on my espresso machine for me in the mornings, and then
wicked
the
smart.
The deal there is you keep the espresso mugs on the top of the machine, and then they're nice and warm by the time you make it, and then you don't pour hot coffee into a cold mug because you're supposed to warm the vessel beforehand. Is the coffee terminology for it.
Warm the vessel.
If you're one of those.
If you want to have a delicious cup of coffee, you must warm the vessel. That's the creepiest thing I've ever heard. Warm the vessel.
Yeah, exactly. It's very like.
Don't tell me to warm my vessel. Thank you. Anyway. There's no smart brain erase feature that I have to remove the phrase warm the vessel from my brain. That's too bad. Let's go back to that button though. I mean, there are lots of things that you can do with that. The idea here, or the problem that this is solving, is that a lot of times we want to make devices smart, but you have to get the right devices to make them smart, where unplugging them from power, or turning off power to the system and turning on power to the system, is the extent of what you can do. And so you need to have devices that have sort of physical controls to, for example, a humidifier that instead of having a press button, it has a toggle. So you have it set to the setting that you want, so that a smart plug can provide power and make it do its thing and then turn off power. This provides a solution for devices that aren't within that range of products, so that regardless of whether, like, disregarding the power situation, but more importantly regarding the control situation, you've got a device that can actually control the turning on and turning off. Now, have you used this yet? Have you tried this yet? Have you stuck it to the front?
I haven't gotten it hooked up yet, and that's part of the problem is that it does require being mounted with like 3M tape, and it's like a chunky little device, and so it's not going to work everywhere, or like you'd have a bunch of these little things all over the house that are going bzzz and turning things on and off.
I'm going to make I'm going to make a sleep mask, and I'm going to connect 2 of them to the top of the sleep mask, and then it will press my eyeballs in the morning like, hey, wake up. And it's just like tapping me on my eyes. Hello. No, but yeah, you wouldn't want to have a bunch of these wall warts all over. Can you imagine your partner comes home from work or whatever, and she's like, what in the world have you done to our home?
Yeah, that pretty much happens pretty regularly. I feel like I've almost like not bought products that needed a switch like that because they didn't work with the smart home stuff. So I don't have too many. Like the espresso machine is like the killer one for me, especially because it's on a schedule that is pretty predictable. And there's actually a hub that comes, or you can buy it separately too, that can send infrared signals. So I think that's actually more interesting because it could like completely turn on my fan even without being physically attached to it, which is
what is this world where everybody has fans that are remote controlled? I don't understand because
I think it's pretty. I don't know. Whatever you get at Target probably has a remote nowadays.
Okay, so if it's a newer fan, okay, because I've only ever
like
had
a box fan from the 90s or something. Like,
well, excuse me, I've got a fan that's older than I am in my home. No, I guess if I'm talking like tower fans, yeah, I could make those. I could use an infrared light to turn those on. But overhead fans, all of mine are controlled by the switch on the wall.
Oh yeah, I don't have
anything else.
I mean, I'm talking about like a standing rotating.
Oh, okay. Well, now that makes sense. Okay, yeah. Well, and I think some people have AC units that are infrared. But does it do multi-control, or does it only do I send a signal, like on off?
I think it's pretty basic, but I'm pretty sure you can set up scenes. I'll have to test that more. I just got that hub set up. Yeah. But yeah, this is like, I don't know, I'm excited because it's something that I probably wouldn't have found otherwise. I'll link to I think it's HomeKit Hero wrote about this. And then also, I think one of our listeners heard about the Homebridge out of the box and made a YouTube video about it. So we should put that in the show notes also. Yeah, he's like, heck yes.
And tweet
bought
at
it
us,
immediately. Yeah, he sent it to me.
Oh.
So I should send it to you.
Okay. I guess I'm not included as part of this little group here. Sorry, I'm not a YouTuber. I guess I'll hop on that train.
Oh God, I think that's the first time anyone's ever said that about me in public. So.
Matthew Cassinelli, YouTuber. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey guys,
like and subscribe.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever said that. I think I said on Twitter as a joke, I was like, so please like and subscribe, but I don't think I've ever put it in a video. So
wait, is your YouTuber name Maddie C?
No, that's always my joke. Because I worked for Gary Vee for a while.
Oh,
so
okay.
That was like a joke with the other employees.
That's amazing, Maddie C.
Because like when Meerkat was a thing for live streaming around when Periscope first came out, like Gary was all up in live streaming stuff, and I was like making fun of it basically because it's just like you have a whole different persona basically.
Yeah,
I almost wanted to do that for Halloween.
Oh, that would have been funny.
At EC and just be like, "I'm gonna buy the Jets. You should quit your job." Like,
oh Lord, have mercy. Matthew Cassinelli on YouTube.
From the news there.
we did, but we had to talk about the fun new stuff that we got. That's part of the news.
Yeah, exactly.
Although now I'm curious how Canada can how much it costs to send things from Canada. Because there's only one stamp on here. That seems very efficient.
I mean, you only had an SD card, so it's like,
yeah, I wonder if I can send
weighs almost nothing.
Hey, Sierra, how much does it cost to send an SD card to Canada?
There's no way Siri's going to get that right.
Yeah, that wasn't going to work from the get-go.
That's a Google question.
That is it. You're right. It's a Google question. Oh, play the air horns because Maddie C just gave some shade to Siri. Let's actually move on to talk about Google and the Google Assistant because there's a lot going on, particularly in the area of smart displays. I think like a wearable watch, it took some time to figure out kind of where the smart display fit in our lives, if at all. And for a lot of people, it seems like the place that it fits is, and I don't mean literally, you could fit them in a lot of places because they come in different sizes, but the place that it fits figuratively in their lives is in the kitchen. And Amazon and Google
literal, but
well, okay, yeah, that's true. Anyway, I literally figuratively mean that it fits in the kitchen, in your lives, in your hearts, and in physical space. Amazon and Google are both, I'm just lost now. Amazon and Google are both sort of like, right. The kitchen is where folks are using these. They want to make recipes. They want to set timers and things like that. So now they are working on recipes that will help them sort of sell those smart displays.
Mm-hmm. Google's has always been I've been using the recipes on now it's the Nest Hub. Okay, I gotta remember it. The one I bought isn't called that, but that was like one of my favorite first uses of it, was just being able to call up, I mean, not only recipes, but just like quick tutorial information stuff while you were sitting there without having to like pull out your phone and prop it up on something at an angle. And so like one of the headlines this week is that Tasty is partnering with Echo for the Echo Show devices, so that, and just any Echo devices. I'm not going to say the trigger word this week, but you can ask about Tasty recipes and she'll respond verbally too, which is cool.
So you specifically say, "Hey, Boo Boo, I want this. I want a recipe from Tasty," as opposed to kind of like how you do with Spotify and other services.
Yeah, and probably calling out more the type of recipe that you know you want.
I want a chicken cacciatore recipe from Tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing?
And then
it's a cacciatore.
I wish they could have I guess with the screen, not on just the verbal version, but on the screen, it's like do the little top-down video too and stuff like that. Because that's one of those. I'm pretty sure I saved hundreds of those, and I've never ever looked at one again. So it's like, I mean, that would make sense, especially if they're tracking everything you do. It's like when they saw you like one earlier, it's like show you the same one on your smart display. That kind of stuff, actually, that is pretty sweet. I mean, that
follow-up would be nice. I'm sure I saw one not too long ago and ended up using my process of saving things, which is just text it to myself. But now I'm trying to find where it was. It was a clothing hack. It was not food. Never mind. This was just like a great way to fold clothes. It wasn't the Marie Kondo way, so chill. But it was some clever ways to fold clothes. So I just end up sending those to myself. But I like the idea that, you could follow along with these tutorials. I think the one problem is, for me, when I get a recipe and I'm making a thing, because the video cannot be real time, because otherwise you'd be sitting there watching them prepare garlic cloves for 10 minutes. Well, if you use the right amount of garlic, which is always way more than the recipe calls for. But there'd be a lot of prep that doesn't end up in the video. And so I don't like to watch video recipes because it gets too far ahead and then I have to go over and scroll back. So I almost want something that's smart enough to where I can say, "Hey, Boo Boo, here's the recipe that I want to work." And it does the first step and then it will just wait. And then I say, "Okay, I'm ready for the next step now." And then it goes to the next step. Mm-hmm. Instead of, and even I could go, "Wait, I forgot what I was supposed to be doing." And it would restart the step over or something like that. Otherwise, I'm just going to use a written out recipe because I need to control sort of the time that it takes versus a video where it's like, "Look, you did this. Oh, I'm already 6 steps ahead and you're still trying to melt the butter in the microwave." I
don't have an Echo Show, so I do assume it's not just those videos playing back and like, because it's like 60 seconds for the entire an hour and a half meal.
And the text is very small and sometimes it's just like, this is the step where you use, it just says cream. You're like, how much cream? Where, how, okay. Am I supposed to pour the whole thing?
Just piping in the Facebook videos or something like that. So
I'll have to try it. Maybe
I could. So the other one is that Aisha Curry has recipes for Google also. So I could test it right now if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
Here. Let me mute my trigger phrase.
Okay.
Show me recipes from Aisha Curry. Oh, I just said that weird.
Here are some recipes I found.
Asia Curry. Wow.
Show me some recipes for Asian curry.
Okay, one more time.
Aisha.
Show me recipes from Aisha Curry. Wow, what a dumb... Okay, so this might not be working. It said it's supposed to be live.
If we ever get video for this podcast, I will make it so that we have
Oh no, it is
different devices
yeah, so it's,
with us.
Just kidding. So yeah, it does say like start cooking, and then she'll like read out the ingredients, and then you can go ingredient by ingredient. It is actually one thing that's nice about these is that you can tap the display.
Yes.
But although this has so much, I don't think I would want all of these ingredients read out to me one by one because that's like 15 different things.
Oh my goodness, can you imagine? First, go to the fridge and get, then go to this very rare spice store that sells this rare spice.
Okay, I got stuck now, but continue cooking. This is one of my secret things is that I always want to create a like cooking standard where they actually tell you what pots and pans you need because it's always just like, here's the ingredients. And then they're like, just figure out the rest of it.
Use a saucepan. And they're like, what size saucepan? And then you end up using your stock pot as a saucepan, and then you're a fool. And then, I'm using the wok when I was supposed to be using my skillet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like one of those people in the, like, as seen on TV commercials where you're like, everything spills out of the cabinet onto me.
I love it. And those horrible infomercials.
Yeah, like, whoa. Like,
is this how you hold popcorn? I don't know.
Yeah. Just spill the carton of milk all over my body. It's like, so it does go step by step, and you can say like, hey,
you can
boo boo next step and stuff. Yeah. So it's not just like,
see, I shoes have been using this all along. I have an Echo Show in my kitchen.
Yeah.
That I only use to check the time.
Because this is the Google integration, but they're both like, I mean, especially around Thanksgiving, I don't know, it's pretty smart. And then I use it for conversions for, it's like, how many tablespoons is this?
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, with our horrible
I was going to say our system makes no sense whatsoever. So
yeah, is this
when I started measuring my coffee beans and in grams, I was like, oh my God, I get it now. Like that was the first time I really used stuff like that, and it's so much easier. It's wild.
Yeah, I agree. We are going to take a quick break before we get back to the news. And I got to tell you folks about our pals over at FreshBooks. This episode of Smart Tech Today is brought to you by, you guessed it, FreshBooks. Thank you so much, FreshBooks. It's an all-in-one small business invoicing and accounting solution that helps make running your business a breeze. What can you do with FreshBooks? You can automate your invoicing. Automate. I think that works for the Smart Tech Today audience. And always know at a glance just how much is outstanding and who has overdue invoices. Who hasn't sent you your money yet. You can make customizable invoices so your logo gets in there. You can change the colors around, the fonts, so much more. There are multi-language invoices available, which is fantastic if you've got clients who speak other languages. You can accept credit cards, and you can send payment reminders and automate late fees if needed. So you're not having to go through and do that by yourself. You're not having to go through and, oh boy, has this person sent me my money yet? Has this client come through? No. FreshBooks is going to take care of that for you so you can keep doing the work that you do without having to worry about whether it is happening and you're getting the money that you have earned. You can track your time and rest peacefully knowing how productive you've been thanks to the easy-to-read daily breakdowns you get with FreshBooks. So that way you can bill for your tracked hours and you can track time against clients or projects and more. That way it's all there for you. You can say, wow, I've had a really productive day, and know just how much work you got done. And it also makes it simple to organize your expenses and say goodbye to faded, torn, virtually useless receipts. Ugh, those receipts, I've probably got like 3 of them in my pocket right now. I wouldn't have to worry about that with FreshBooks. You can keep them perfectly preserved and organized all within FreshBooks. You never lose another receipt. You snap a picture of it, you log it, and you let FreshBooks keep things organized for you in the cloud. It's also easy for, it's got tax-friendly categories, so you can make sure that you've got those listed properly whenever the taxes come around at the end of the year. And you can stay on budget with an easy-to-read summary of your spending by category. It makes it so simple in comparison to trying to figure out all those receipts and make sure you haven't lost one. FreshBooks' mobile app makes following up with clients ridiculously easy as well. And if there's anything you don't understand, FreshBooks has award-winning customer service via phone, email, and live chat. FreshBooks is something that certain pal of mine here on Smart Tech Today uses. Matthew, you've talked a little bit about how you've pretty much used FreshBooks from the start because it's the right program for you, right?
Yep, it's definitely, I believe I heard about it on another podcast and have been hooked since then. And I was just looking at time tracking. It's like, maybe I should put Smart Tech Today in here. No.
Yeah, you better. Get all those receipts I keep sending you via Pigeon that are all messy by the time they get there. Now you can just make sure it's all tracked with FreshBooks. And 2019 on a high note. Yes, we are almost to the end of 2019. Woof! So end it on a high note and hit the ground running in 2020 with FreshBooks. Visit freshbooks.com/STT and enter Smart Tech Today in the How Did You Hear About Us section to receive 30 days free. Get a taste of FreshBooks. That's freshbooks.com/STT and enter Smart Tech Today to receive 30 days free. Go check it out. You're going to be supporting our show. You're going to be telling them, hey, I heard about it on Smart Tech Today, and I am digging FreshBooks and their automation. Thanks so much to FreshBooks for sponsoring this week's episode of Smart Tech Today. And let's see what's up next. All righty. Looks like despite the fact that that Google is working on ways to make its smart speaker or its smart displays more helpful, the smart speaker shipments from Google have dropped by 40%. 40%. Yeah. That's a huge drop. Does this mean...
This is pretty bad.
Does this mean Amazon is winning the smart speaker wars? Does this mean that the whole new system of, is it Nest? Is it Google? What is it? Is the confusion there is causing the issue? I wonder what we're looking at here.
Yeah, that could be. So this is a report from firm Canalys. Great analyst name there. And then it shows in Q3 of 2019, Google had 3.5 million, but a year before they had 5.9 million units. So they're still selling millions of them, but it is a lot less. And I'm curious this is shipments. So I wonder if this has to do anything with like free giveaways, because I definitely got my Home Mini for free through like the Spotify family plan thing. So that could be an interesting one. I mean, I wonder too is the Echoes have been around for a while, and so they're probably a little bit like some of the early ones are a bit like long in the tooth and maybe worth replacing already. So there could be more people upgrading there too, but Amazon's did go from like 6.3 up to 10.4.
Yeah, look at that growth.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Alibaba and Baidu and like other countries and stuff like that also grew a lot too, but Amazon's definitely been pushing this super hard. So
their shipments are ridiculous.
And they do have like tons of marketing. And I wonder how much maybe that actually, I mean, it's a household name, and it does make sense. That's way more of a household name than Google Assistant. Like obviously people know Google, but I don't think it's like not everybody has one of those, versus it does seem like probably if you ask someone if they had an Echo device, they'd most likely say yes or something. So yeah, I mean, obviously depending where you're asking, but
right. Because I will say this is kind of odd. Within the last like 3 weeks, 2 new people I have met had both had Google Home devices, and I kind of had this. I mean, and of course it's just 2 people. That's a very small thing, but I never, and these are people who are not like tech people who are steeped in tech who do this for a living. And I kind of had to have my little nerdy journalism moment of like, why do you have this device? And what persuaded you to get the Google device as opposed to the Amazon device? And so it's interesting. I think when when Father's Days and Mother's Days and all those kinds of holidays roll around, I do see a lot more marketing for, hey, give your Pops an Echo that he can, I don't know, there's probably some weird ad about like fishing or something, as it were. But the point is, I think that there does seem to be a lot more, it seems to me to be more of a go-to for folks to gift Echoes than I have seen with folks gifting Nest hubs or whatever they're called these days.
Even just thinking about it, like pretty logically, Amazon is a storefront. And when you go to buy your stuff on Amazon, it's like, oh, add this to the cart also, versus I'm not like on Google's hardware store website ever. So that's definitely like just makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's got that utility of being able to order. I mean, that's what it's like. I use my Google one to Google stuff, and I use my Amazon one to buy stuff from Amazon.
My mom pretty much exclusively uses hers just as a speaker, though, a music listening speaker. So really either could work for her, but it was because I purchased her the Echo, and so that was the one that she went with. And I'm curious if folks who are choosing to gift these to others, which one they are more likely to go to, because for me, the Nest was never really an idea that was never front of mind as an option for a gift, but the Echo very easily was. So I don't know. That's interesting. There's some weird psychology there at play.
I mean, like Nest stuff wasn't truly Google until, I mean, like I feel like nerds like us knew that it was owned by Google, but it still had its own brand separately, and only recently has been like so directly tied to that. So that was like, I mean, the Nest was like the first smart tech consumer product, I think, that broke through and was like
the camera.
Yeah, it's like I want one. Well, even just the thing on the wall, like the sweet
the Nest thermostat,
was the coolest thing, and I just like came into it when I would have bought one was right around when I realized that it would never get HomeKit. So I was like, and just kind of held off.
That's also why I never got a Nest thermostat, was for that same reason, and why I ended up going with Ecobee instead. And now Ecobee has finally added support for some of the features that the Nest thermostat has had all along, where it's doing the processing to figure out what good temperatures would be to save money, etc. So that's exciting. Finally have that. But
those
it's not
I'm eyeing also.
Yeah, it's not as premium
Friday
hardware. It's going to cost you a lot of money. I hope you've been saving for Black Friday, and you've got your expenses tracked with FreshBooks there, for sure. Now, tell me about ambient mode. This is the feature that sort of lets the device always be listening, correct? Or that it gives you information without you having to sort of go after it, which in my opinion is what I want from smart stuff anyway. I don't want to have to actively go for it. I want it to be able to give me information throughout my day so that I can look at one of the multiple internet connected screens in my home and say, oh, okay, so I've got this calendar appointment and this, which that's what my Echo Show does pretty much. I can see what are my events for the day. But
I think the biggest thing is, so this is for Android phones. It's basically when you're charging, and if it's like, I'm not sure if it actually can tell if it's angled up or not, but it will basically make it into like a smart display where it tells you the weather and can show you notifications and stuff like that. And I noticed this with, I'm borrowing a Samsung Galaxy S9 from Twit, and I mean, it actually died because it had this always on display, but it was like in the background as like a clock because it was just sitting there with the screen on and showing the time and like the weather. And I was like, this is actually pretty nice. It's a pretty expensive clock, I guess. So these kind of things are awesome because I totally want that from iPhone too, is just to be able to like set it there. And I mean, you can use the trigger phrase, and I mean, right now, like I have 5 devices that light up in front of me.
Right.
But just having it also ambiently show information would be pretty cool. And especially if I could hook into stuff like that with shortcuts. Ooh. See, that's where it is like smart displays and being able to bring up that information for you is, I think, this mode is called ambient mode, but just the idea of ambient computing is
ambient
cool
computing
because
is so neat.
Just being able to like notify you, or I wonder if something like smart earbuds could probably do with this too, is just like announce information at the top of the hour or something, like announce notifications.
To sort of have when I put them in for the first time, let it would be. There's a way that it could be smart enough as it exists right now to know that, to know the time, and to know that my morning alarm went off, and to know that I have put them in for the first time that day. It could already do that. If we put that software
so close. Shortcuts is like right there, but the Bluetooth part doesn't. I think they're worried about security, so you can't, when you trigger a Bluetooth device, automatically have it run an automation. Yeah,
and it would be nice then, knowing all that information and going, okay, so this is the first time he's put him in, run this routine that tells him about his day. It's the start of your day. Hey, here are the appointments that you have coming up. Here's what you need to know. This one got rescheduled, and also you've got 2 Slack notifications from your work Slack or something like that. That would be so cool.
I feel like we got to be so close. Like, next year, maybe even, definitely not like 2019 because it's a little late for that, but
yeah, it is a little
like
late for that.
Within the next year, that's kind of stuff could be happening, which is, it is one of those things that's like, we're just going to have it and then we'll be like, oh, but it doesn't work exactly right.
Right, exactly. Well, there's
I don't
always
appreciate this anymore.
There's always some pickiness to be had there, but two,
I'm just joking.
The idea of our mirror. I go and I stand in front of the mirror, and we've seen this in every sort of like, the future will look like this video that's ever existed, but your mirror is smart and gives you your start to the day. But when I think of augmented reality, if we live in a world where AR plays a huge role in our computing, then ambient computing is going to have to be a part of that. And so you start your day, you put on your AR glasses that are not foolish and large and uncomfortable, and the ambient computing begins with the beginning of your day, and you see the time, you see the weather, you see your little meetings and all that stuff, and then you swipe through them, and what a beautiful future we could have.
Your breakfast recipe.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And so it's okay. And it's tied to your health app. And so it's like, Mikah, I noticed that you didn't get as much iron in your diet yesterday. Maybe you want to start your breakfast with, I don't know, iron pills, but not really. Something that's high in iron. Fish? I don't know how much iron is in fish. Why not have some of these rusty nails for breakfast? Start your day off right. That would be really cool, that then you're getting in your normal diet. Oh, man, that just got me really excited. Not the rusty nails.
But have find health data actions. So you could, in theory, do that now if you logged your
Matthew's
food.
Matthew's a tease. He keeps telling me about all these things I'm supposed to be able to do, but I have not seen any of the results
the
yet.
Logic of it, I think.
Oh, I see.
There is an app called
it's just not there.
Food Noms just came out, and it's an app that lets you scan barcodes and log the data into the health app with Siri shortcuts, which is cool.
Firstly,
so it's like he needs to make a sister app that then reads the data and then tells you, like, I think the biggest problem is like health recommendations are not exactly an easy thing to just waltz into and give to people.
Yeah, that can be dangerous. It can be unsafe. It can be a law thing. That was actually my pick on Mac Break Weekly this past week.
Oh, nice.
And I had the great pleasure of having dinner with the developer of Food Noms. Right. And yeah, now I'm going to have to be like, hey, so now we need this, please. Thank you. We need this feature. Thank you. Yeah. We kind of got off topic a little bit, but I love it when we do that because there's so much more to these little news bits than what are just the news bits. So there's, so I guess Xbox One has not had the Google Assistant before, Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was testing it in beta earlier this fall, but it's basically now the full Google Assistant thing has rolled out. I had this whole blog post that I didn't actually end up publishing that was like how to actually add it because it was not clear how to get onto the beta. But now it's all set up with Xbox, which is nice because you can throw it up. And I've been playing the latest like Star Wars Jedi game, which is pretty fun. You get to run around with your lightsaber and
wait, so you can
use the Force on people.
You can say, "Okay, Boo Boo, play this game for me."
Yeah,
the Google Assistant will play it for
my
you.
Star Wars game.
Oh, it launches it. It doesn't play it for you.
Oh, and not like literally play it for you. Hey, turn left. Hey, go forward. Just over and over again.
Hey, Boo Boo, turn left. Yeah.
But I mean, speaking of alternate ways to play games, Xbox has, I think just this year, came out with the Xbox Adaptive Controller, which is this advanced platform that enables you to like have a controller that can be used or plugged into with a bunch of different things for people with accessibility needs, because especially those like chunky controllers are like only fit for certain hands.
Right.
And even like Google Stadia's their new online gaming platform has like a controller that's more fit for other people's hands. But just this week, the Logitech, which partnered with Google, came out with an adaptive gaming kit that has even more of those pieces. So there's like 4 different light pressure sensitive buttons, and then like a variable trigger button that you can use to like go like more fast. Like in a racing game, the triggers you usually like hold down a little bit to go certain fast and all the way to go more fast. Small buttons and large buttons. And so basically what this means is like you can set up a whole controller through where like maybe on your wheelchair or something like that with the buttons just in the places where you can press them.
Yeah.
And then you can still play full video games with this whole setup. So this stuff is amazing. Like those.
Yeah, that's incredible.
This is one of those videos too that you watch the like trailer videos and it always gets you because it's just like, I just want to play video games like everybody else kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
the
then
empowerment is there.
Yeah, it's like I mean, even just like being able to play a game for hours and hours that Star Wars one is like super enjoyable, and it's just like super sad to imagine if you just literally couldn't play it because it wasn't built for you, and now it is. So that stuff is like, I am all for this kind of stuff. Absolutely.
And I do want to note too, listeners out there who are tuning in after the fact. And this is off topic from the topic, but on topic for the show. If you do have the opportunity to watch the show live or have been thinking about watching the show live, but wondered if it was worth it, given that this is an audio first podcast. Kevin is the technical director of the show. He is also the technical director of iOS Today. And it's not as if it's just two folks talking here. Like he's adding value to those who are watching live with overlays and things like that as we're talking. So if you have the opportunity to tune in live, you should definitely do so. And of course, tell your friends about the show because when we reach a certain subscription threshold, then we will flip on video, actually downloadable video for you to tune in later. But I just wanted to make that clear that it is not as if we just are willy-nilly running a live stream that doesn't have any added value. We've got our technical director here making the value available as well. Like just
showing
now,
little demos
as
of the game
we've
kit,
shown a video popping up as we're talking. So very good to tune in live if you can to check out the show.
I also, in a previous podcast that I did, I had a method of taking the current timestamp of a podcast and opening it into the same timestamp in a YouTube video. So like you could be listening to the show and hear a moment that you wanted to watch, and then the shortcut, you run a shortcut, and it would open the YouTube video to the same moment and enable
really
you to
cool.
continue on from there, which is very cool.
Yeah, that's super
maybe
cool.
I might be able to figure it out with like Twitch's own internal browser if it has time codes in the URLs.
Okay, yeah. We'll have to look into that. Then this is a little bit sad. We talked a little bit about this on Windows Weekly, but basically Microsoft for a while now has been subtly and then not so subtly removing Cortana as its own service. So what, CAAS, Cortana as a service, from all platforms, not even just iOS but and Android, but pretty much from all platforms. And it will officially kill off the app in January. Now, this is an obvious move for Microsoft, as the writing has been on the wall for a while that they want to turn Cortana. The joke is that Cortana will become like Clippy, but more modern. But the truth is that Cortana is going to become a productivity assistant that specifically works with Microsoft's productivity platforms, and that does not have its own sort of existence as an entity outside of that. So yeah, Cortana's going away as its own little app, and that makes sense.
This is just for the UK market, also just for now. So it seems like it'll probably go away in the US eventually.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's kind of like people who have the headphones that use Cortana can't connect to that. Like if you're in the UK, you might just be like out of luck or something. So it is kind of wild to pull it. But it's also like, I don't think every time I tried to use the app, it's just when it's not built into the ecosystem directly, it's going to be secondary always. And so,
yeah, there's no way that I'm going to, I'm not going to say, hey, Sierra, launch the Cortana app, and then say, hey, Congo, do this or do that. There's no way that I need both of those doing different things. And so I like this new method where, so for example, Microsoft was showing off a way with Outlook. We talked about Outlook reading your emails before, or not Outlook, but Cortana reading your emails before. And so you can, because it works with Siri shortcuts, you can create a shortcut that says, hey, boo-boo, have Congo read my emails, and it will launch the Cortana or the Outlook app, and then Cortana will read the emails and let you go through them, etc. And that makes sense. I don't really care who or what the person or entity or virtual noise bits are that are doing the thing. I just want the thing to be done. And so whomever it happens to be or whatever it happens to be, the point is that the thing that I want done works, and that's all I really care about. So goodbye Cortana app. I hardly knew ye. I really didn't know ye at all, I don't think.
I think my main experience with it has been sometimes if I have...
Sorry, someone in the chat just said, it's okay, Mikah, you could say Cortana. No one will notice.
That's what I noticed, is we were both just saying that over and over again without worrying that it was going to trigger it. But every time I wear... like a gaming headset if I want to play with my friends, and sometimes it will just randomly think I'm triggering it because it like works through the microphone that it has. That's like the only time, unless you have the Connect, which I never got. And it's like suddenly like in the game, it like starts pulling over the UI that's like asking me a question. It's like thinks I'm asking a question, and I'm like, oh my God, no, please, I don't know.
No, Cortana, I don't want you ever. Get out of my way. Oh no, this reminds me that I forgot to do a thing. We were talking about the weather. So Siri will announce weather temperature units based on the preference of who is asking. This is kind of neat. So once it starts to know voices, if you are from Quebec, from L'Assomption in Quebec, I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm saying that really improperly, and you're just going to have to bear with me there. But if you're from Quebec and you are in the United States in the same household with an American, I'm sorry, and you both have different profiles set up, when I ask the weather, it's, say, it's not right now, but let's say it's 75 degrees outside. It will say, yes, it's 75 degrees outside. But, darn it, I didn't go slow enough. I was trying to sound all smart.
Did a calculation.
Yeah. Fahrenheit as Celsius. Okay. So, when I ask it, it would say it's 75 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And then if my Canadian friend asked it, it would say, oh, it's 24 degrees Celsius outside, which is kind of that is such a subtle thing. But if for some reason you have an expat living with you and they have obviously a different idea for ambient temperature, that for some reason they're using Celsius instead of Fahrenheit, which makes more sense as an ambient temperature measurement,
Fair.
then they can get their Celsius measurements. I'm just going to sip this tea after I made that little remark and hear what you have to say about that, Matthew.
I was just going to say that it was 70 degrees here in Berkeley today, which is honestly like terrifying in the middle of November because it's way too warm. I don't like that.
I want to wear a sweater. Let's see. It is currently 66 degrees in Petaluma.
Oh, wow. That's you. I guess you guys do get warmer temperatures. It's been getting pretty cold here at night, or quote unquote cold.
Yeah.
We should just shut up because probably not of our listeners are living in California like us. So.
Back home, it's 46 degrees, which for those of you in Celsius is 8 degrees. And I wish I was there. I love cold weather. 46 degrees. I miss it. Anyway, I think that's a pretty neat feature. And this is what we were talking about. These all seem like small little things individually. But there's a lot of thinking that has to go into that process of, and like how far we've come since the introduction of these virtual assistants in the first place. To go from having a virtual assistant that could tell you the time and do some calculations, to then having a virtual assistant that could make more logical arguments and understand things a little bit better, to then having a virtual assistant that can tell the difference between two voices and then provide contextual information based on the person with whom it's speaking. That took a lot of work, and that adds up. Yeah. And we're seeing sort of what developments can take place and how this stuff can get more powerful over time. I think that's awesome.
It always does feel, it's like, why don't they just do it? And it's like, in that word, just is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I have noticed, though, of course, I will undercut myself with a complaint about it, is I've totally noticed that the way Siri responds is a little bit like mail merging my name in. It's like, okay, Matthew, I'll add that to your grocery list. And it's like, that needs to be way more natural. Like, we were just making fun of it last night, actually, because it's like, hello.
Say my name. Let's see.
So the next headline that is like, of course, I'll have to read this one out because Walmart Voice Order now has their own Siri shortcuts and full like Siri compatibility, which is cool.
What is Walmart Voice Order?
It is basically it sounds like a overly branded way to just do like voice. I mean, it sounds like ordering through.
Oh, ordering your groceries through it.
Yeah. But like through the Amazon Echo type stuff, but just with Walmart instead. And I'm just glad to see like major brands actually paying attention to Siri shortcuts, although I'm almost positive that it is not the newest APIs.
Wait, so does this exist? Like, do you need to have an app?
The Walmart grocery app. Yeah. So it's just like making it Siri compatible so that you can use your voice throughout the day to like add groceries and then have it order.
Add to Walmart.
You probably have to set up the shortcut first.
Yeah, because now it's just like, here's what I found on the web for you.
That is
Thanks
the
a lot.
major limit.
No problem. Anyway, yeah, okay. So you set up the shortcut, and then after that, then you're able to do... Today, we're proud to announce that partnering with Apple, we've made Walmart Voice Order available on Siri. We're always looking for new ways to bring our customers the best experiences when buying Apple products from Walmart and when using their Apple devices every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but hopefully it's not just for ordering Apple devices. It's like, hey, I want to buy a new iPhone from Walmart. I want to be able to just do whatever, right?
Did it say that?
Well, that's what the press
buying
release said.
Apple. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean, maybe Apple pressured them to put that in there. No, I'm just kidding. But,
probably a little bit.
I feel like it is. I guess maybe that's where I was going to say, I don't know why they need a partnership, but maybe for the product specifically, they built it. But like looking at the the App Store or screenshots and stuff, they do use the shortcut where you can say like what's in, or it'll show you like your total cart and stuff like that. So it is pulling information in from the Walmart app into like the Siri interface for you, and that'll also respond it out loud and stuff like that over the HomePod or AirPods. So this is cool. It's actually like a pretty deep integration.
And the way that it gets smarter, so according to this article here, it says the more you use it, the more it's going to learn about your shopping habits. So you may always order a certain kind of OJ from Walmart. And so then you can, instead of saying, I would like the Florida orange fresh squeezed with pulp orange juice, you can just say orange juice after a while, and it'll know that you want the Florida special, whatever it was I said, the Florida kind with pulp after that. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, these are, I mean, it's like, this is again one of those things that's like, why don't they just add a shortcut? But then it's like, they have their whole back end tied into this type of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does, the way it works is it like runs through the app and the app handles it, but it's still like these are like major steps, because it'd be pretty awesome to just like stand around and order. I mean, I guess Whole Foods has their 2-hour grocery thing, but
yeah,
Whole Foods tends to be slightly more, like free for Amazon Prime people now.
I use that all the time, but I've never done it with my voice. Maybe I should try that.
Yeah.
Next time. Hey, order from
challenge.
Ooh, yeah, there we go. There we go. Florida's natural 100% premium Florida orange juice, not pasteurized. Excuse me, not the no pulp kind, the full pulp kind. Thank you. Sorry to those of you out there who hate pulp, but I am a pulpy pulper.
I actually like pulp too. Yeah.
Yeah, pulp. That was part of the reason I went to the University of Missouri. Of course, I was from Missouri, but the University of Missouri in Columbia is one of the highest ranking journalism schools in the country. And so that was one reason that I went to there to go be a journalist. But the other reason I went there was because when I went to visit the university, the orange juice in the food hall, or is that what they're called? Dining hall, was full pulp orange juice. And I was like, this is my place. This is for me. There we go. Florida's natural, 100% premium Florida orange juice with pulp. Well, if people are wondering why I'm just naming these off, once again, you should watch the video because Kevin found the orange juice I was after. All right, let's talk about this too. This is, again, a new feature specific to Apple HomeKit, but I think it's worth talking about for multiple reasons. One, because it's a money-saving thing, and two, it's a privacy-securing thing. Logitech has these, genuinely one of the most fantastic smart cameras that I have ever used. It rivals the Nest Cam, in my opinion. And it's one that I have been, the Logitech Circle 2 camera is doggone-tastic. And I've used it for, well, as long as I've had one. I've used it and loved it, and it works well. And it is versatile. It is high-quality vision. And Logitech's own system for saving video was not too pricey, but Logitech said that they were going to be bringing what's called HomeKit Secure Video to their device, and they have officially done so, which made me very happy. Right now, if you go and you buy a smart camera, depending on the one that you get and what integrations you want, you might have a system that saves the video from the device on a server somewhere. And when it does that, it's charging you for server storage. It's charging you for maybe even more money, depending on what features it wants to provide you, like being able to recognize if a human being is walking by, or a dog, or a car. And all that starts to add up. It's usually a subscription cost. There are some cameras that have SD card slots, and so you can save those locally, but they may or may not also offer detection features. Some are sort of split, and so you can get one that saves the video locally, but to do the processing to determine if it's a person, a dog, or whatever, then you pay the subscription cost to do that. So Apple said, you know what? We want to try something a little bit different. We're going to offer something called HomeKit Secure Video. And what it will do is it will use your iCloud account, which is, of course, encrypted 2 ways and this, that, and the other, to store your video. And I shouldn't poo-poo it like that. Apple laid out this really great piece that tells you all about the encryption and how it's all set up. But I'm not going to go into that right now because it's pretty nerdy. Just know that like it's very secure. Apple can't see any of your videos. That's the whole thing. And then we're going to do the processing locally on the devices you have in your home. So you have home hubs is Apple's way of describing these devices, like the Apple TV, the HomePod, and any iPad that you leave at home as a device that's connected to the internet. Those devices can serve as what are called home hubs, which is how Apple runs the automations that you set up within your HomeKit platform. Well, it will push the video to those devices, and they will process the video to do recognition of pets, of people, and of cars. And then it will split up your video and show you what, I think I detected a dog during this period of time, or I detected a person during this period of time. So, and it doesn't cost you. That's the big thing, is that this is a service that's provided for free without a subscription, and lets you do all the things that normally you would pay for that are then stored on servers that maybe you don't have as much trust of.
Well, for free with asterisk of you need a certain iCloud account. So it's like if you have the 200 gigabyte plan, you can do one camera, or if you have the 2 terabyte plan, you can do 5 cameras. But it also doesn't add to your storage limit, which is weird. So like,
yeah,
this is one of those things where you're like actually paying for just like the product itself. But it's like, as long as you have that account, they'll store as much footage as it can, which is also like nice that you're not like actually managing a limit. They're just like, as long as you're paying us enough, you can have storage space for it. But
yes, so it is.
It's
yeah,
not
there
like
is an asterisk
taking away from
right.
your 200 gig thing. But yeah, it's still like, assuming you have something like that, then it's essentially free at that point, which is nice. And it's not like something else you need to manage in addition.
Yeah. So that's Logitech is the latest. I didn't know if they were really going to, I was surprised that they hopped on board because this is a loss of a certain amount of money via subscription. And so this is kind of a big deal, frankly.
But it seems like if they were ever invested in Apple's vision, it seemed like it was leaning towards this eventually. And just the privacy of not streaming your internals of your home over video to somebody else on the internet is like, especially since all this stuff came out 2 years ago, like things have gone a little, people are slightly more aware of privacy issues.
Absolutely.
we could say it that way.
yeah, let's go with that.
It's especially if this is the one that you recommend, I will be watching
down.
the discount pages over Black Friday because I want to secure my house and packages. And the thing that I do have to figure out is, it's like my house is on a street corner, and so if we're pointing and seeing every single, I could make a video of like, here's 10,000 cars in Berkeley running the stop sign outside my house.
One of the things that I really like about this camera is why I mentioned being versatile. What I meant by that is there are multiple mounts, and one of my favorite mounts in the way that I had it set up at my previous home was it's a window mount, but it goes on the inside of the window, and then the mount goes on the window, and then you stick the camera to it, and it puts just enough space between the lens and the window that you don't get any sort of reflection or anything like that. And so it can look out without you actually having to have the camera outside to mount it. Yeah. And so I really liked that option, the window mount. And the window mount wasn't very expensive at all. And they've, like I said, but they've got multiple mount options. And so, yeah, this is it's genuinely a high quality camera. The infrared lighting is good. The audio options are good if you do have it outside or inside, depending on where you want to put it and what you want to use it for. So yeah, like I said, and I never had any connection issues or anything like that. So it was just always the one camera that I could kind of trust, other than the Nest Cam that I have. I honestly have been able to trust, but it exists outside of the platform. So yeah, not as valuable.
That does make me think of, I saw a video, or like, yeah, it was a video from somebody's home camera of like, he got like a Canon lens delivered, and the like delivery guy just like throws it onto his porch. And it's just like, oh my God.
Ouchie, mouchie.
It's like not even necessary to. It's like,
that's a bummer. Ugh. All right. Well, let's talk about our project for this week. We've got a little bit of feedback with folks talking about, there's something fun and cool in the beginning about putting in a light and then having that light change colors and being able to use it from your phone or whatever to turn it on and off. Mm-hmm. But the real magic, the real power of the smart home comes from when your smart home is working for you and you're not working to control your smart home. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about automation and different ways to make your smart home work for you. And, it could inspire some folks out there, and folks, feel free to send in your automations as well that you really like in your home. I've talked plenty about my motion sensor for the hallways. And I think that we did get someone had asked a question about sort of a more in-depth understanding of that. So I'm looking at ways that we can go about sort of creating little branches off of this main show where we maybe do go over some tutorials or something like that, some value added stuff. So folks out there listening to the show, listeners, let us know either on twit.community or by tweeting at us or sending us an email at stt@twit.tv. Let me know if that's something that you would like to see, that you want. We've got Maddie C, the YouTuber, who does this stuff all the time.
We're not that far away from each other. Right,
exactly. I don't do this stuff as much, but I would happily, hey, what's up, guys? For some good content, if that's something that you'd be into sort of seeing actual breakdowns of what we're doing. But anyway,
you had me at content.
Content, and as I learned from Judge John Hodgman, always be plugging. So one of the first
Matthew
things,
Cassinelli on YouTube.
There you go. Don't forget to follow him. One of the ones I want to talk about is a helpful thing for me, and it's a simple one, and it's just that when my alarm goes off in the morning, which during the week, it is a consistent alarm. During the weekend, I let my body wake me up. But when it ends up being about the same time anyway, I have some hue lights that will begin to sort of work like the sunrise. And so at a specific time in the morning, those lights start to slowly fade up and turn on, and they go from like a deep orange to a brighter white color. And that makes it so that I can't kind of keep going back to bed when I should be getting up and sort of starting my day. It's a super...
Unless you just turn it off.
Unless I just turn it off, which I never do, ever. I always get up and just get the day started. Did my nose just grow 3 inches? Is that... Oh, dear. But I like that one. It's a simple one. But another one of my favorite things is a lot of folks, I think, they come home to their house and maybe they've got a bunch of groceries in their hands, or they've got, I don't know, dogs in their hands or kids in their hands, or for some reason their hands are covered with grape jelly and they can't turn on a light switch. I don't know why your hands are covered in grape jelly. I didn't ask. I don't want to know. But for whatever reason, they're covered in grape jelly and you just can't get to that light to turn it on, or else you put grape jelly all over that light switch. And you wish that there was a way that you could see in your house and not stumble over the jars of grape jelly that are lying on your floor and step on little Lego bricks that are also scattered across your floor. What is going on with you? What is wrong with you, Linda? What happened to you? We used to be so close. Anyway, so you want to wait for the lights to turn on without you having to think about it. And that's where I could see Matthew Cassinelli is like, why did I agree to do the show with him? Who is this person?
This is like too specific for him to have made up or something.
That's what you think. We call this acting. So you have a GPS thing set up to where when you drive up to your home, and you're the first person to enter the home, the lights automatically turn on, and then you can get to the sink to wash the grape jelly off of your hands. So I like that
You're
one.
driving with grape jelly.
Yeah. Look, the steering wheel is a lost cause already. You have given in to grape jelly, the grape jelly kingdom in your car. But once you get home, you want to clear that issue up. Now, Matthew,
I
you
have
talked.
a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does that coming home stuff, does that work for you reliably? I'm looking at the Hue app now because I'm trying to figure out, can that do if someone is home, or is that only HomeKit?
It can do if someone is home, but it can't do person by person. I use.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I like to use the Home app for that stuff.
I had one for the HomePod that was supposed to be when I get home, when I'm the first person home, play music. And I got back from my walk this weekend, and my girlfriend was sitting there saying, "Why?" Because music was just playing suddenly while she was watching TV.
Oh, no.
I swear, like, I was doing this in my live stream, actually. Like, the Home app, every time there's like, when the first person gets home or when anyone arrives, and then you can specify yourself. But when you do that, it like changes the title and doesn't actually just say when I'm the first person. So I feel like, I don't know if it just doesn't work as intended, or it's always possible that there's user error when I'm doing it. But
yeah, I'd have to look into that a little bit more. See, the problem
it's
too
supposed
is,
to be possible, but it isn't working, at least.
Yeah.
In practice,
And
which is always lovely for my partner.
Yeah, it hasn't been the situation that I have had more than just me, with a phone at least, coming into the home regularly for a while, and so I haven't been able to test those sorts of first person home features in a couple of years. So I don't really know, or I haven't had the opportunity to test those, and so mine is just a GPS location thing based on me, which is a lot easier to sort of handle. But I do like to. So again, going back to, we had this conversation before. A pro tip for folks out there who are getting into the automatic automation stuff. I like to do if I'm going to do location-based automation, I want that all happening in one place. And so I do tend to use the Home app for that, because that's my choice of platform. Because if you start to split up the location-based stuff, then you've got multiple systems that are trying to figure out where you are, and some have more access to you than others do, and some may not, be up and running at times. Yeah. And so I just do the one that I know I've been able to count on more, and let all of the location-based stuff happen in that app, which, like I said, has been the Home app for me. And I think I can remember, 2 years ago, but this, of course, was before they added a bunch of extra features. It's no surprise that it worked then. But I would be, my partner would come home after me from work, and the lights would stay how they were, because when I came home from like the store or something, the lights had changed based on my automation that was set up. And when he came home, it didn't affect the lights. It didn't change the lights. So it worked then. But that was also like, that is strictly Home app stuff. And what your automation is, if it's playing music, like that's outside of the Home app, right? That's shortcuts, right?
No, the HomePod is part of the Home app now for audio.
So even the
Apple
music
TV.
playing?
Yeah. So it's like, but also that's what was funny is I just, outside of it, blasting my girlfriend with noise, was I would come home every single time wearing my AirPods Pro and not hear the music. Like I came in and then was like, oh, there's music playing. And even with them having the trigger phrase support, I would try to turn off the HomePod, but then my AirPods would hear me and stop that. And then the HomePod's playing, and it was like very silly. And I mean, even like, it was a testament to the noise canceling, because I didn't notice for like 20 minutes the music was playing. Like my cat's over there like sleeping, and it's like Lizzo's playing throughout the house.
Oh my word.
So that's what is like juice. That's what I like. It is always interesting, especially because a lot of people were upset about the personal automations for shortcuts not having those automatic triggers. But in practice, so many times when I've had like too automatic of stuff, it just doesn't work, because it has to be like I always get home from soccer practice on Thursdays and I want to listen to the same playlist. Otherwise, a lot of stuff can just be like, I don't want it every single time. I want the option or something like that. But if I just get home and like the radio starts playing, I don't want to hear like Zane Lowe being like beats one worldwide every single like. Just it's like I mean I might want it, but it's
24/7 worldwide.
Like almost sometimes you can over automate, and that's definitely like it's the line between it being exactly what you want and then being completely ridiculous is so thin. It's like you can easily step over that.
There's a series of articles that I have done over the years for holidays. And so folks want to check those out. They're from iMore. So you can type in like, let me see, HomeKit, Valentine's Day, iMore. Let's see if that works. How HomeKit can help you celebrate Valentine's Day was one example. I think I've got some for different holidays. Here's the thing is that this is a specific how-to for using HomeKit home automation, but you could easily set this up with the Google Assistant as well to do some of these triggers. And so the thing that I had it do was, let me see, I wanted when the person would walk through the living room door, so they unlocked the living room door, then it would turn down the lights, and then, that was it. That was the one thing. It was a simple one. It's just like, I want the lights to turn down to sort of a romantic level after they had unlocked the door and walked in. And this was at a period of time where you couldn't do music along with things. And so that was kind of the extent of it. Then I would just have to do the rest myself. But then there was another one called Get Cozy, which you could say, hey, boo-boo, get cozy. And it would turn up the heat on the thermostat. And then I think I had one that was pretty funny where it starts with turning down the lights, but then I set up like a little side table in front of the tower fan and put like confetti on the side table. And so when the door unlocked, it would, they'd open it up, the lights would dim, and then the fan would come on and would shoot confetti at them.
Wow,
which is
that's amazing.
Just kind of silly and fun. So there are some different options there, but you can look up some of those articles if you're curious for ways that you can add automations that do the things for you. So you can just sort of sit back and watch while your partner is surprised by a confetti cannon that started playing. And now these days you can add music to it as well. So start playing some boogie down Prince song or something that starts whenever the person walks into the door. So that's a little bit. We'll have a lot more to talk about with making your smart home work for you as we continue, because there are multiple platforms that exist out there to help with this kind of thing that are even outside of what's available with the consumer products in terms of the Google Assistant, the Amazon Echo, and the Home app for iOS. There are some, I think it's called homeassistant.io is one system. Oh, it's home-assistant.io. And I've used this before as well, and it's basically a local, once again, sort of a local server that you can run, and it teaches you how you can set it up so that you can access it while you're outside of your home to control different devices. But that is very location-based. The kind of magic of homeassistant.io is to work without you having to think about it. That's, like I said, just one example of multiple platforms that are out there. Okay, it is time to get to... Oh, unless you had anything else to add there.
Oh, I was going to say just a quick piece of follow-up for last week. I did mention one of my favorite automations is just turning down the HomePod volume at night. And now that I think about it, I should set this up for my Echo and my Google Home stuff too, because they have the same problem. Although I got to tweak all the levels just exactly right.
Yeah.
But it's that way. It's just like at 10:30 p.m. it turns the volume down so that when I ask something of it, it doesn't then respond at full volume if that's what I was listening to earlier, which is very good.
Hey, Alpha, remind me tomorrow to take out the trash. Okay, Matthew, I will remind you tomorrow to take out the trash.
It's always when it's like the least. It's like there's, for some reason, you have like a newborn baby and it's just like, oh my God.
I need to remember to get some more baby rash goop at the store. And it's like, baby rash goop, looking it up now.
It's like you just got it to sleep after like hours and hours. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I would throw that Echo Tower.
That's like a commercial for the feature, the Whisper. I mean, I do have this is another one that I want to put on my blog, but it's like, this shouldn't even be a feature because it should just figure it out. But the one that I did do last week that I couldn't get to work is I do have it set so that when I turn off the light strip behind my desk, it will shut down my computer, which is awesome. It will sleep it at least. Okay. So
I was like,
it uses the I'll put a link to this in the notes, but the PM set display sleep now is the terminal command, and that is what it's. You use take the home automation, and then in the home automation section, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and there's a convert to shortcut button. And then the action is run script over SSH. And this lets me tap into the IP address of my computer and then tell it to sleep the display, which is very cool.
Well, I would have you do that now, but we don't want you to go away from us.
Yeah, exactly. So. I will finish off the episode. All right, I shouldn't spoil it.
Yeah. Shh. Cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. We've got some feedback here. Dave sent in some feedback that I thought was pretty great. And so I'll read this email. Hi, Matthew and Mikah. Matthew, I saw your recent show on iOS Today and saw that you were having issues with the Do app. Interesting you mentioned that there were many old reminders that kept sending you notifications constantly and getting in the way of your day. I myself... it's cut off. There we go. I myself had the exact same issue a while back. When I first started with the Do app, I thought it was so great that I would put all my reminders in there. This, of course, led to getting too many notifications during the day, most of which became overdue. Eventually, I realized, as Mikah suggested, that the Do app was mainly indispensable for must-do actual reminders, where the snooze ability would nag you until you had completed that task. So what to do about Do? I had so many reminders that I did not want to delete, so here's how I solved my issue. I decided to get most of them into the Apple Reminders app. How can I easily do this? Well, here's the simple solution. I set up my iPhone so I could easily see the many Do app reminders. Then, on my iPad, I opened the Apple Reminders app and did the following. 1. Create a new reminder list called Imports. 2. Click New Reminder. 3. Use Siri dictation to read the item from the Do app right into Apple Reminders. Then, of course, repeat until it's done. This way,
I assume that's the dictation button on the keyboard then?
Yes. And then it says, this way I was able to get all the reminders in the Do app into Apple Reminders very quickly thanks to high quality Siri dictation, and delete those app reminders that I no longer needed. Now I just use the Reminders app for most of my reminders and the Do app for a small number of very needed tasks, which is where the app is invaluable. So I thought that was a great tip for folks who are trying to figure out how an app like Do fits into their lives, because yes, it is meant to nag, and that's what makes it so great, is that it is for things that you absolutely cannot forget to do. And that are due immediately. But for project planning, or like you said, where you kind of use it as an idea storage, an app like Reminders is a better option for you.
Yeah, that sounds like the perfect way to give yourself anxiety is by doing every single daily task, not just like repeating. I feel like it is best for repeating tasks, not just something that's due. Talking about these apps can get very silly, but and I think also in that specific situation, my thing was just like updated and it came back from old stuff. But yeah, it's like if you put too much in there, it can be overwhelming. But once you get the right thing in there, it's not easy to ignore, which is the perk, not the detractor. But
right.
It is, again, it's like, comes down to how you use it, always in moderation.
And then I'm going to save the other question because I completely forgot to run this test while I was at home. So I think...
I do have actually, now that before we move on, another way you could... I was making fun of me because you're like, of course, Matthew's going to have a method for doing it with shortcuts.
Yes.
And you could do... there's a repeat action in shortcuts. So you could have it like you could choose a number of reminders that you wanted to add, and then it could pop up and automatically do a dictation interface for you that then even just like once you paused, it could move on to the next one. So you could sit there with your phone next to your iPad and just like look through all of those and say it, and it'll go like ding, ding, ding as you go through, which is pretty smooth too. Or the other nice one is that in the shortcuts widget on the home screen of the iPad or like on the lock screen of the iPhone, if the dictation action works from there. So instead of repeating with the shortcut itself, you could just have it do like dictate new reminder and just tap it each time. And I use that for groceries because it's like I want to just go around, look in the pantries and be like ding, like apples, bananas, that type of thing. So I can make
grape jelly
little shortcuts for this person too. Thank you. Is it Dave? Was it?
Yes. Yeah, Dave.
That's good. That was a good thing of feedback.
Yes,
especially
absolutely.
He's like, I'm an entrepreneur myself, and it's like, yeah, I have so many times where it's like I do actually just need to use reminders for a reminders list and not for all my to-dos, because there is like a distinction, but that's one of those things that's like you can get way too deep into it, which I of course have done.
yes, you've dove in, as it were. All right, let's go to our picks of the week. Matthew, you tell us yours first.
Yes, this is an app called Home Run, and it's been out for a while, but it just got updated with literally thousands of icons. So this is an Apple Watch app that lets you have little icons for your different home scenes, and then you can customize what time of day it'll show up on your Apple Watch. So like it'll only show your morning scenes on your little watch face, and then later in the day from the same face you can have it show your afternoon scenes or something like that. And this app is amazing. It's like one of those like killer Apple Watch apps. I'm trying to find what's like the main. I'm trying to find. He has a bunch of other. Here, let me look in the App Store real quick. He has a bunch of other apps too. Home Scan, Home Pass, Home Cam, which works with the secure video. Or actually, it might not get the full secure video because it's limited with third parties. But he made a bunch of HomeKit apps, basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can check out multiple from Sunya Limited. And, there's even a bundle, so you can buy Home Run, Home Cam, Home Pass, and Home Scan for $9.99, whereas it would cost you $11.96 if you purchase them all separately. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's a kind of I like how the app is set up, how it looks on the Apple Watch. That's pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, it's Aaron Pierce. That's why the name confused me. I think that might be like his business name. But
Sunya Limited.
He was in my live stream that I was doing my home automation setups the other day. So I was like, yeah, the one person commenting now.
Yeah. And you can go to homerun.app to learn more about that as well. And of course, we'll include a link to the show in the show notes is what I meant to say.
Yes.
Boom. Okay.
What's yours?
My pick this week is something that I just added. I think I talked about this on Mac Break Weekly, but I'm bringing it back because at that point I said that I was getting it. I had not set it up yet. I now have it and got it set up. And currently, I don't know if it will continue to be, but at this moment in time, it is available for $30. And it is called the MyQ Smart Garage Door Opener. This basically turns within I will say pretty much any garage door that you will have in your home. So as long as it has these security sensors that keep like little animals from getting crushed under garage doors, if it has that, then it is very likely. I mean, that's what they're there for. And and toddlers.
Why animal? Jesus.
It's animals and toddlers. It's like things that are low to the ground. So, the two things in life that are low to the ground, animals and toddlers.
Well, on the stream, he's showing videos of dogs and toddlers.
Right? And they're all safe.
He's having too much fun over there.
Because of this. So what this does is it turns your garage door into a smart garage door. It gives you a way to, while you're out of the home, open and shut your garage door and check to see if your garage door is open or shut.
Yeah.
So
that's like the classic dad example, at least.
Yeah, I must call me dad because I don't ever call me dad.
Dad.
Because
Dog dad.
Can I take that back? How do we rewind?
Pop.
Clear the tape. We're starting over.
Yeah. Edit that out.
No, you can't edit it out now.
I
No,
know.
it's-
That's the joke.
No, I'm teasing. But anyway, don't call me dad, but do call me someone who cares about whether my garage door is open or closed and often forgets if or is anxious about it. Garage door is closed or open. There's a device that you stick to sorry, the chat room is ruining me right now. So you stick it to the garage door, and the other part you connect sort of by your. It's literally being streamed on the television as we're doing this, but the other part goes next to your garage door opener. And it learns the signal that it needs to send out to properly work with your garage door. And then the sensor that sticks to your garage door, when it's up, of course, it is one way with the gyroscope or whatever it has in it. And then when it's down, it's the other way. So you can set it up to, I have it so that I think it says something kind of mean to me, where if after 5 minutes, the garage door is still being sensed as open, then it's like, hey, dummy, you forgot to close the garage door. And then I can close it.
Can it not just close itself? Or
I think you probably can get it to if you want to. But I like to know. I want to know that I have it open.
It's like there might be a reason.
Yeah.
It's like too automated almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just crushes your car. And then
well, because then, too, I wouldn't be able to examine the steps that led to me actually forgetting to close the garage door. And that's important to me because it's like I always close the garage door. So what was it that caused me not to, so that I can make sure that doesn't happen again? But two, I have it set so that every time the garage door is closed and I am not at home, it will let me know. So wait, no. It only lets me know that the garage door is left open. I can't remember now how I have it set up, but I have a couple different notifications set up that are GPS location based. But essentially,
nice. That's smart.
Yeah, essentially, I have it set up that way, and yeah, I really like it. So it's available now for $29.98 by itself. You can also get it with the Wi-Fi extender if your Wi-Fi router is far away from the garage. For $46.97, but honestly, this was a no-brainer for me.
I think my dad might have this, and I feel like if not, I hope he doesn't listen because he's getting this for Christmas.
Yes, yeah. I hope you're not tuning in.
He might actually say. I mean, I don't know,
Mr. Cassinelli.
I remember the Mike Q Chamberlain name, so I feel like that was around the same time.
Yeah, I used to have their smart garage door opener, the whole machine, and it was beautiful because it was so quiet and it worked super well.
That is nice.
And so now I have this, which works with my existing one because I rent this place, and so I'm not going to be putting in, garage door opener.
You totally just struck me with like a memory of like, I just remember as a kid the garage door opening being like, oh, parents are home kind of signal.
Oh yeah, and that my dogs know. He's home. And so it's time to start barking to let him know that we're here, even though he knows we're here. But you have to make sure that you know that they're there. Yeah. But the thing that this doesn't have by default, unfortunately, is HomeKit compatibility. And so you actually have to buy the separate hub that provides HomeKit compatibility. Or you can use your Hoobs to do it. And that's what I'm going to be doing, is using my Hoobs to connect it.
Get that Homebridge out of the box? Yeah, that's right.
Homebridge out of the box solution or system, one of the two.
Nice.
Yeah. So, folks out there, if you would like to send in your feedback, your questions, your project ideas, your concerns, your grape jelly situations, you can email us at...
Maybe don't send that last one.
Matthew says he doesn't want those ones. You can send those to stwit stt@twit.tv. That stands for Smart Tech Today, in case you were wondering. But you can send those stt@twit.tv, and they will, in theory, go to both Matthew and I, where we could see those and add them to the show. Of course, you can tune in live, and like I said, Kevin is here making the show look great, and also including the occasional joke at times, like a Canadian flag that flew across the screen earlier.
Yeah, that was good.
We record the show live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, which is 2300 UTC. So you just head over to twit.tv/live, and that will show you all the places where we're streaming live. If you want to subscribe to the show, you head to twit.tv/STT, and there you will see links to all the different ways you can subscribe, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or other platforms as well. And we don't have a YouTube link, I'm noticing, on the site, but we do publish the show as audio on YouTube. So if you are one of those new confounded post-millennial Gen Z YouTube podcast listeners, then you can go there to listen to our show as well. We love you. That was just a joke.
I can already I could already test that shortcut because we already have that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right, I got to get on that.
Yeah,
okay.
You get on that, please.
I'll make a task.
And of course, if people are looking to follow you online and see all the cool stuff that you do, Matthew, aka Matty C, how can they do so?
Make sure to like and subscribe at Matthew Cassinelli on YouTube.
Or my website is MatthewCassinelli.com. And that's CASSINELLI.
You need to do a .show URL, something easy like MattyC.show.
But like, I don't want the Matthew Cassinelli show is getting a little bit into the ego area, but
you could do like MC.show or something.
Yeah, well, we can have our branding discussion.
Yeah, afterwards, so that no one steals the URL.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want all my great ideas.
And of course, you can follow me on all of the social media accounts at Mikah Sargent. Again, if you have grape jelly stuff, that's to stt@twit.tv. Don't tweet those at me. But I think that's going to take care of it. So, Matthew, it's time to say goodnight to all your smart assistants.
All right, I'm going to test my automation that should turn off this computer. So let's see if this works.
Goodbye.
Then my screen turned off. Maybe you can still see me, but okay, that's a good test.
Kevin had it go black, which was good.
No, that might have been me, actually.
What would have been better? Oh, so your screen actually did sleep too?
But I think it was still recording, so.
What would be better is if you hit that button and then the lights turned off here in the studio.
Yeah,
that would have been something. Yeah. Anyway, there it goes. It was just delayed. It had to travel across the bay. Not to triangulate. Anyway, this is it. Goodbye. Thank you out there for listening.